Today we're going to be taking a look at the idea of thematic development in visual art. And specifically, we're going to be taking a look at the work of Jeff Koons, a very famous American artist who has created some controversial pieces within a specific theme. So the first thing we need to understand is that there is a difference between subject matter, a topic, a theme, and the overall message. Some people will begin to think of themes in terms of subject matter, but subject matter is really just the things that we see in an artwork. And generally speaking, we will be referring to those things such as portraits or figures, landscapes, still lifes, history or narrative artworks, genre artworks, which are basically stories from everyday life, fantasy, or non-objective subject matter. Right? These are the things, again, that we see in the artwork, but don't really relate to the overall message that we are trying to convey in the fullest sense. So you may identify subject matter, but need to recognize that the subject matter, in fact, is related to the topic or determined by the topic that the artist is particularly interested in. So the topic are the ideas that the artist is going to be exploring. So these are broad in nature, such as the environment, social justice, or mental health. The topic lays the foundation for what the theme of the artist's work is about. It expands on the basic um, it expands on the basic notion of a topic, but in essence is a little bit more neutral and doesn't really take a side of the arguments or different perspectives or points of view that topics can elicit. Messages is what we are striving for in the development of a grade 12 body of work. And this is your personal statement. It's essentially your thesis. It's what you want your viewer to understand from your work, the point of view that you hold that you are wanting to share. So, for example, we can take a look at sort of a flow of different ideas. So if we wanted to take the topic of the environment, for example, we may see as part of our subject matter icebergs. And this relates to the theme, which is related to the environment of global warming. The message is what you want to say, right? So here we have a definite opinion that is associated with the theme that you are trying to develop. So global warming is a real concern and has significant impact on human society. This is what you are wanting to say through your particular artwork. So as you can see, there is a flow of ideas that are all related, from fairly simple and very specific to a little bit more broad in scope, and then lastly taking a look at your personal points of view. So Jeff Koons, as I said before, he is a very famous American artist. He's studied at a number of renowned art institutions in the United States, and he has a variety of different artworks and bodies of work that have given him international renown. So, with the images that you have seen in this presentation, you may have noticed that there are a lot of figurines in his artwork, and what makes these particularly unique is that they are completed on a very large scale. So, the subject matter are these blown up knickknacks to a large scale with the topic of exploring the whole notion of kitsch. And these are these sort of mass-produced everyday objects that people tend to kind of collect for some reason. And he's exploring this theme of the ugly beautiful, or the beautiful ugly, in which we start to question what has aesthetic value. The message that he often is attempting to convey is that the everyday is not necessarily as beautiful as we make it out to be. Right? By taking these kind of cutesy little objects and making them large scale, right, we recognize that, you know what, they're not exactly as cute as we once thought they were, but at the same time offers a a glimpse into what we consider to be aesthetically pleasing. Right? So again, we want to take, when you're developing your own work, we want to be taking a look at the subject matter, the types of things that you would want to see in your artworks, the broad topic, which is generally going to be the starting point for your um, development of your body of work, moving that into the theme, a more specific element or area within your broad topic, and then finally your message, which is your point of view on the theme that you have identified.